It is well known that well-managed supply chains are critical to the success of any industry. So building a
Right.
resilient, agile, and future-ready supply chain is critical in today's dynamic environment.
Right.
Industries are facing increasing disruptions. Every day you see earlier there are such geopolitical tensions, climate change, technological innovations, AI, a lot of things are happening all the time. So the demand adaptability, proactive strategies are important.
Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm your host for today, Priya George. And today we have with us Mr. Shamsher Singh Kalsi, a powerhouse in enterprise architecture and corporate governance, known for leading multi-million-dollar conceptual design to actual product delivery that redefines industries. With a sharp focus on governance, collaboration, and leading multitasking teams in the rail, transportation, and industrial sector, Mr. Kalsi has been at the forefront of driving seamless tech transitions in an era where disruption is constant. His leadership isn't just about strategy on paper, it's about real-world execution that delivers impact. This episode isn't just about corporate leadership. It's about the mindset, resilience, and expertise that fuel business transformation at the highest level. Whether you're a decision maker, an aspiring leader, or someone who thrives on industry-defining insights, there's something in this conversation for you. So sit back and get ready for a deep dive into leadership, innovation, and the real mechanics of making businesses future ready. Mr. Kalsi, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. I'm looking forward to a very insightful conversation.
Thank you, Priyaji, for having me and giving me this opportunity on this wonderful platform of FaceTime with the Leaders. I'm very happy to share my journey thus far. As you go ahead with the questions and all. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So let's get straight to it. Mr. Kalsi, every leader has a story, one that's filled with unexpected turns, defining moments, and valuable lessons. And your journey has not been very different. So when you look back at the path that brought you here today, what were some of those pivotal moments, the challenges that shaped you, and the experiences that really defined your leadership style? We'd love to hear from you.
Correct. So I'm thankful that you asked me this. Let me share my journey so far. See, I come from a humble background, but had a very good meritorious academics in the boards, followed by a mechanical engineering at REC Kurukshetra 8085, then did my MBA finance. And I had always a fair mix of sports. I've been playing and still pursue playing lawn tennis and golfing regularly. And my journey started after graduation by getting a placement in the campus placement in the LCV manufacturing, followed by extent in fertilizer plant maintenance. Then I was into generating electricity, that is operations in the thermal plant. And thereafter I had a long career in the Indian Railways, which included working with the RITES on deputation. And I always believed in team working, having successfully led all my teams across, leading from the front. And some of the successfully delivered projects, which I still cherish on date, I can name a few of them. Say, I led my team at Rail Coach Factory Kapurthala for manufacturing and delivering the first AC chair double-decker rake that ran from Delhi to Jaipur. And then we also manufactured the first Tejas chair car train set on IR, which is still running, I think, Bombay to Goa. And during this stay, we exported a lot of special stocks like meter gauge coaches to the African countries, then about $35 million Cape gauge coaches to the African country, Mozambique. We also exported $35 million LHB coaches to Bangladesh. So there are some of the projects which we delivered in time and for the country. Some of them were the first time on Indian Railways. At the prime of my career, I was looking after the charge of general manager at Modern Coach Factory, Raebareli. And earlier that, I was Group General Manager at RITES, which earned the Best Performance Award during my stay.
Wow.
I've been very passionate about my work. Some of the another key aspects I'll share with you. Like at the start
Sure.
of my career at NFL, learned quite fast the overhauling of complex gas turbines, heat exchanger pumps, and initial posting at say Ludhiana.
Okay.
A locomotive which we turned a day before, like in the evening, met with a serious accident uh, at Rajpura and was totally torpedoed by a
Oh,
train, goods train lying ahead. And the loco had come to us, and it was challenging. And for the first time ever, we rebuilt that locomotive from chassis onwards, and it was a privilege and leading the team, and got a lot of award for the shed. Uh, I've been part to planning, manning the crews for the train operation, and did a lot of design work at the RDSO, including vendor development, and always had a very healthy relationship with my neighbors and associates up and down. On my last day of service in the railways, we turned out a three-phase memo coach Rake from MCF Raebareli.
mm,
So I also want to emphasize a point that uh, uh, corporate or for industrial or for that matter, it's a journey, continuous learning journey where training and development plays a part, and which plays a important shape in making aptitude thought process. I was
mm,
fortunate to have leadership exposure and training at ISB Hyderabad, INSEE at Singapore, and also at ICLIF Leadership Governance Center at Kuala Lumpur, and followed by leadership program at in urban transport planning and Korean Institute of Transport Institute at Seoul. So all that has helped me shape my thoughts and knowledge so far. Thank you.
right. That's incredible, Mr. Kalsi, and it's always fascinating to hear how these early experiences and defining moments shape a leader's trajectory. So thank you for sharing that with us. Moving on, Mr. Kalsi, leading any unit to the top is no small feat, but making Northern Railway's Regional Inspection Office the best performing strategic business unit in Rail India technical and economic services, that's a testament to real leadership. And I can only imagine the kind of strategic thinking, decision making, and relentless effort that must have gone into achieving that. So, walk us through that journey. What were the key changes, the challenges, and the mindset shifts that made this transformation possible?
Right. Thank you very much for asking me this, because uh, that was a new exposure of working in the PSU, coming from the government sector. Uh, this has been one of my uh, very cherished tenure of 3 years while working at Northern Region Inspection Office as Group General Manager, where I was heading the Northern Region Inspection Office. Here we do about 1 lakh inspection a year, about 300 inspections per day, with a team of
Wow.
about 50-55 engineers. Uh, but when I joined this place, they were already doing a lot of work, but things were little ad hoc and needed some
Okay.
standardization. And
Right.
I'm very happy to share that with my team, with motivation of my team and personal involvement at various stages, uh, we could develop about 1,500 check sheets, standard check sheets, because we are inspecting about 3,000, 4,000 items repeatedly over the
Correct.
years. So it was
Correct.
standardization of inspection, and then digitization also played a big part.
Hmm.
Because real-time information was important. So we had a real-time information on specification, data, what points to be checked, and
Hmm.
we collaborated with the experts in developing APIs and collecting all the data's information.
Right. Right.
And it really fired the spirits of the team, and they were really doing a wonderful job. And we also looked after them very well during the COVID times,
Hmm. Hmm.
with a lot of visual and online initiatives and regular counseling. And you'll be, I think, delighted to hear that during this time we had a 40% operating ratio only. So it basically is a service sector, inspection is service activity. Our SBU was operating at 40% OR, and with all around indices seeing a jump. And we really got the best SBU award in 1819 amongst the 35 SBUs of the RITES. So, and during this time, I also personally inspected did some foreign inspections of machines and rolling stock at Italy, China. That also gave a good exposure. So, after completing my tenure, I returned back to the railways in 2021. But in all, it gives me a really cherished time, and still I interact with my teams who are still doing much better and wonderful job there. Thank you.
That's wonderful. And thank you for such an insightful response, Mr. Kalsi. It's incredible to hear how leadership and a clear vision and the right strategies can really turn things around. Moving on, Mr. Kalsi, when we talk about large-scale manufacturing, one of the biggest challenges that come up time and again is ensuring a smooth and efficient supply chain. Now, given your vast experience in material planning, procurement, supply chain management across industries, we'd love to hear your insights. What do you view, or what do you think are the best practices industry should adopt to keep their supply chain resilient, agile, and future ready?
Correct. So, valid point and relevant thing for every industry. It is well known that well-managed supply chains are critical to the success of any industry. So, building a resilient, agile, and future-ready supply chain is critical in today's dynamic environment. Industries are facing increasing disruptions. Every day you see earlier there are such geopolitical tensions, climate change, technological innovations, AI, a lot of things are happening all the time. So the demand adaptability, proactive strategies are important. Based on my knowledge gained so far and some of the practices which I've seen in the industry while moving around, I think to improve the supply chain, strengthen the supply chains, we need to take a few steps depending upon the industry where we are in. So we need to basically diversify the sourcing and the suppliers to start with.
That makes sense.
That reduces your risk mitigation, and if we can get in local sourcing, near-shore suppliers, so still better to reduce your uncertainties. And in this, the vendor selection is very important. So we need to be very careful in selecting the vendor because it is a long-term relationship, and its final outcome effects in the field may affect your reputation and either way. So we've seen in India, we had a government ban on importing from China. It's a sudden ban. So therefore, the diversification is very important. And then secondly, I'll say leveraging the technology and automation is equally important. Implementing AI-driven tools for demand forecasting, inventory optimization. Then robotics plays an important role. Automated warehouse robotic processes are well known. Blockchain is important for transparency and traceability of your products. And this is very important to trace the performance of a vendor or your own workmanship. Then we need to have a real-time data-driven decisions, whether it is for predictive analysis or for taking timely actions and corrective actions or feedbacks. And these days, no one can operate on his own. So need to have a collaboration and partnership with your suppliers, customers, all stakeholders. So that is also very important. And at times there are two ways of, we should have a, I think, hybrid approach, just in case item required or just in time item required. So a mix of both the strategies, minimizing the level of inventory and timely sensing the demand for the type that you need to produce and ever-changing needs of the society, and also need to have a safety stock maintained. Another thing I learned at one of my postings at MCF Raebareli was flexible manufacturing. So what we had a 38 sets of robotic machines with the steel coils coming as rolls. From that stage to the actually shell manufacturing, the coach manufacturing, whether it involved cutting, bending, welding, jig and fixture, all that. So it was all done on a flexible manufacturing. So you can always play with the demand and the requirement. networking, designing. Then another thing, scenario planning is important. So this I learned from Cliff, Kuala Lumpur. We should always see beyond 5 years, 10 years, what are the trends taking place. So
Correct.
scenario building in your industry and foreseeing what is coming in your way is important, that it takes care of natural disasters, geopolitical issues,
True.
like that. So, and another thing
True.
is green procurement. Sustainability is also catching up these days. So we should plan our
Absolutely.
products and supply chains
Yes.
accordingly.
Yes. Right.
Minimizing wastages, leaving lesser of carbon footprints.
Right.
Then comprehensive risk assessment and business continuity plans are important.
Yes.
Cybersecurity has become a need of the hour these days. So supply chain security, increasing reliance on digital systems, internal and external communication has to be secure. And
True.
with so much of things happening, so upskilling the workforce is very important.
Very important.
Developing flexible
True.
teams, cross-training employees. Then
True.
customer is a king, so customer-centric approach is required uh,
True.
in the supply chains, depending upon the how the demand is shaping up. Uh,
Right.
then these
Right.
continuous review of your supply chains is important. KPIs, performance metrics, so that you get a feedback and track agility, sustainability, resilience, all that. So by focusing on
Right.
some of these points, companies can build more resilient, adaptable, and future-ready supply chains that can weather any uncertainties and deliver long-term success. So resilience and
Absolutely.
agility are not just about surviving disruptions, but also for continuous innovation and staying ahead of the potential challenges.
Absolutely. Thank you. That makes so much sense in today's world where disruptions can hit from any direction. Having a strong, adaptable supply chain is no longer a luxury, but it's a necessity. Mr. Kalsi, we are living in a time where technology isn't just supporting industries, it's redefining them. And AI is making decisions faster than we think. Blockchain is changing how we think about trust and security. And automation is reshaping entire workflows. Now, with everything you've seen and experienced, which of these emerging technologies do you believe will create the most profound shift in business strategies over the next 5 years?
Well, it's very important. Today, we are at the inflection point in our times of all the emerging technologies reshaping our world, whether it is blockchain, IoT, robotics. AI with big data stands out as the most transformative force across industries. AI will not just change how we operate, it will redefine how we think, compete, and create value. So artificial intelligence is rapidly evolving ability of computers, robots, and other machines to make decisions, assist and assist with planning, improve communication, etc. So it is already there. It is not that we are seeing in the long term. It is already happening around us. So this AI is reshaping in all activities of our businesses, whether it is manufacturing. AI is ushering in era of Industry 4.0, where you can have predictive maintenance, quality control, and everything is available online with a click of a button in manufacturing.
True.
And it also gives you flexible manufacturing. So it's happening in the healthcare. AI is revolutionizing diagnostic and patient care. Algorithms
Absolutely.
can now detect early signs of any disease like cancer through
Yes.
imaging. It's a
Yes.
triaging impact. So that
Right.
financial services also getting impacted with AI. But the real-time fraud detection, faster underwriting in banking and insurance, uh, so whatnot. So this also affecting all sectors, including finance. So retail and customer tech also getting affected. AI is empowering demand forecasting, dynamic pricing, customer behavior. Even earlier we had only the airlines dynamic pricing. Now we have it in trains, buses, everywhere. So this is or the Uber or Ola. You see, this all AI affected. Logistic and supply chains are also global supply chains, optimizing routes, improving warehousing, public infrastructure and smart cities. So AI is now deciding your traffic routes, traffic timings, at the cross section.
Right.
So this is also
Right.
affecting. So it's while the potential is immense, the road to transformation is not without obstacles. So we need to upgrade skills of the people so that there's more acceptability. We are ready for the future. Uh, this is going to have a bigger impact as we go on. So it will be entering all our lives. There are some ethical and regulatory considerations on with respect to AI. The other day we heard somebody, some top man in the Google even resigning, saying that computers now are it may have adverse effect on the humanity. So there are ethical issues, regulatory issues. We need to make AI a core part of the business roadmap, not a peripheral innovation effort. So it has to be brought into the mainstream of your thinking. So AI will be the cornerstone of competitive advantage in the years ahead. Organizations that embrace it thoughtfully, that is balancing innovation with inclusion, efficiency with ethics, will lead the next era of industry transformation. So my role as a consultant or a leader is to help businesses not only adopt this technology, but do so in a way that is sustainable, responsible, and human-centered. Thank you.
Makes absolute sense. And that's such a fascinating perspective. And thank you for the way you broke it down. It really puts into context how these different technologies aren't just trends, but actual game changers. Mr. Kalsi, you had an incredible career spanning leadership in large-scale manufacturing. But we are curious, what's next for you? Given your vast experience, what aspirations do you have for the future? And as businesses increasingly rely on seasoned leaders for governance, do you see yourself stepping into boardroom roles to shape strategic decisions at an even higher level? We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for asking me this. See, for someone like me, I'm not alone. There are many of people like me who have had such a wonderful experience and all. But with the track record of leadership and strategic experience, and having worked in private, public sector, and the government organizations in diverse fields, stepping into board role can be a natural progression. The desire to make a broader impact, work with different industries or companies, and contribute to high-level decision-making is an appealing aspiration. As businesses increasingly face complex challenges like sustainability, digital transformation, newer regulatory compliances, the role of board members has become more pivotal than ever. So the future involves leveraging these experiences to drive more impactful decisions, either through mentoring, innovation, or stepping into roles that influence larger strategic directions. As businesses continue to evolve, especially with the rapidly changing technologies, shifting global markets, leaders often aspire to be part of such active initiative if possible.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Yes. Right. In one of your previous response, Mr. Kalsi, you talked about, sustainability being an integral part of, the business, and ESG compliance is no longer just a checkbox. It's becoming a fundamental expectation from investors, customers, and even employees. But here's the challenge many companies face. How do they move beyond, treating ESG as a separate initiative and instead weave it into the very fabric of their business strategies? What are your thoughts on it?
You're right. I think ESG is not a simply buzzword. It really means something which we need to, if we integrate the ESG into the business strategy, which requires a thought out, holistic, long-term approach, which is embedded across every function, level, or decision of the company. When done right, ESG becomes a source of innovation, risk mitigation, and market differentiation. There are industries who are differentiating, making a difference on this, and attracting and getting traction on the customer front. So helping businesses not only thrive in the face of regulatory pressures, but also align with the broader societal values to meet these objectives. Some steps probably may help. So aligning the ESG with the business objectives, one of the first steps is to ensure that ESG goals align with the company's broader mission and long-term vision, rather than viewing ESG as something separate or secondary. Then we need to embed the ESG into corporate culture, train every employee at all levels to understand the importance of ESG. foster a culture of accountability. And if we have to do all this, the measuring and reporting is transparently becomes very important. The success of ESG integration lies in being able to measure, track, and report on the progress. So we need to recognize the frameworks like global reporting initiatives or SASP, set specific measurable ESG targets and track them regularly. This is only way it can be brought down to the operating level at every hand, which contributes to the company's top line or overall sustainability. And then we also need to develop a holistic ESG strategy rather than approaching ESG in silos. That is environmental issues handled by a sustainability team, governance by a legal team, and compliance by HR. So companies should create a holistic ESG strategy that encompasses all the three pillars of environmental, social, and governance, and identifies synergies in this. So that is with the cross-functional teams, identifying areas for the ESG initiatives and establishing and recognize the people who are doing really good in as a ESG champions in the departments, various departments. And then this will help. And then also at the same time, we need to engage the stakeholders and with the collaboration. Successful ESG integration requires collaboration both inside and outside the organization. So regularly engage with the stakeholders to gather feedback and adjust the strategy accordingly, build partnership with suppliers, other stakeholders, involve customers in the company ESG journey. For example, showcasing sustainable products or encouraging their participation in community projects is important. So while I remember in the RITES while I was working there, so our corporate office, they had adopted a very wayside, some village, try to educate the people, did some social working also. So in a way, uplifting the society becomes part of that. Then we need to lead with the innovation and risk management. Encourage ESG should be seen as a source of innovation and a key driver in risk management.
Absolutely.
Then leveraging ESG as a competitive advantage. So what I was saying earlier, so when integrated into business strategy, ESG can differentiate a company in the market. Many consumers and investors are increasingly choosing companies based on their ESG performance. So this is very important. And ESG landscape is constantly evolving. Businesses need to stay agile. Successful companies regularly review and update their ESG strategy to keep up with the emerging trends, new regulations, and shifting consumer expectations. So in the nutshell and conclusion, I will say monitoring which some of the steps that we have been taking regarding the ESG, and I was part of all those activities and processes. So we and many industry already do it, I think, monitoring the air purity level, water ground level or BOD, sound levels, rainwater harvesting, then functioning of proper function of UTPs, STPs, and we also ensured that there was total zero discharge from our premises. So all that wastewater was treated and recirculated, whether for irrigation or plantation or whatever. So zero discharge to the environment that way outside the campus. And there are some sort of a lot of awards in the environment protection and all the other two to three fields. So we should encourage people to get into, do some good work and get into some awards.
Absolutely.
So it's a real business, real activity which leads to a lot of dividends if done properly.
Yes, I think the organization as a whole needs to have that long-term, vision and the foresight to be able to have that perspective that you just shared with us, right? As we near the end of the interview, Mr. Kalsi, you recently joined Directors Institute, stepping into a network of accomplished leaders and governance experts. How has the experience been for you so far? Have there been any key insights or perspectives that have stood out for you, shaping your approach to leadership and boardroom strategy? We'd like to know.
Thank you, Priyaji. Actually, when towards the end of my active service, I took a course with the Director Institute, and the institute has really helped me in getting an insight to the idea of being part of such a privileged network of business leaders and try to gain a lot of experiences from their experience that could shape leadership and boardroom strategy. That governance and strategy go hand in hand with the responsibility and adaptability. This some of the learnings I've taken from the institute, and it also has a forward-thinking mindset. It is not just about making decisions, but creating an organization culture that aligns with the ethical practices, value-driven leadership, and a holistic approach to business growth, while complying to the regulatory framework. So the institute has helped me have a broader perspective on the governance, uh, given me ideas about how important it is to have a collaborative leadership, then navigate how to navigate the complex stakeholders and interests uh, during the strategic board meeting decisions and discussions. Then ESG
Right.
part, ESG integration and responsibility. Incorporating ESG principles into fabric of strategy isn't just about compliance, it's about creating value, mitigating risk, contributing to a better world. So this is a really important lesson which I've taken. And then there's an emphasis on the agility and adaptability. The leadership has to be agile in the boardroom. This means fostering a culture of continuous learning and adaptation, staying ahead of the market. That is staying ahead of the curve while we move forward, making informed strategic decisions despite uncertainty or uncertain times. So, and then leadership is an evolving journey. The most effective leaders are the lifelong learners, open to new ideas, willing to seek guidance from those who have traveled the path before. Uh, there's also about it is also about accountability and transparency. So one has to be prepared for both for all the decisions that you make. So if I were to say if one has a fire in the belly and this is a given platform which offers you a stepping stone to build future prospects in the corporate governance, one can pick up the finer nuances by carefully going through the discussions of some case studies and also develop on various I think study material available on the net. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It has really helped. Yeah.
And we are so glad. It's incredible to hear. To see as well how a structured program like this can open up new perspectives even for seasoned leaders like yourself. So thank you for your kind words. And for our audience, just like that, we've reached the end of an incredible conversation. Mr. Kalsi, your journey has been a masterclass in leadership, resilience, and forward thinking. From revolutionizing large-scale manufacturing to embracing the evolving role of governance, your insights have been nothing short of invaluable. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and we wish you all the success as you step into new leadership and boardroom roles. I have no doubt that your expertise will continue shaping the future in remarkable ways. So thank you so much for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders here today.
Thank you, Priyaji. Thank you very much for having me on this show. Thank you.
Absolutely. And for our audience and listeners, what really stood out today is how experience, when paired with vision, can create a lasting impact, not just within an organization, but across entire industries. It's not every day we get to hear from someone who's been at the helm of such transformative change. And I know our audience have taken away some powerful lessons. To everyone listening, thank you for being part of this conversation. If today's episode resonated with you, make sure to follow us for more such deep dives into leadership, strategy, and innovation. Until next time, stay curious, stay ambitious, and keep striving for excellence. Thank you.